Right, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it, all right? For SIFA. SIFA and play-by-plays around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, after an extended delay, we are into picks and bans. And the first ban out the gate is Elise, targeted at move. No surprise, the Kalista. Reckless played it 3 times, and phenomenal performances every single time. The Zed, though, I found that a little surprising.
Yeah, just doesn't want to leave it open as a counter pick. Exile does play the Zed. Red side has a counter pick able to be picked up, and as some of these stronger laners get kind of banned out, the value of like a LeBlanc goes up for some of these teams if they mimic the style they did last week. I'm not saying first split LeBlanc is the thing to go for, but apparently both these teams made it work by going hyper aggressive on every lane, low on tankiness, and just look for big skirmish snowball approach to the game.
All right, pick, skirmish, snowball. Some of these champions are quite good at all of those. The Brom is the final ban for Fnatic. And Unicorns of Love have got about 20 seconds to decide theirs. Nidalee is off the table. I've seen that a couple times today across the streams. With Ryze banned out, it means Vladimir is left up, and that has to be considered first pick worthy.
Yeah, and I wonder what the reply is going to be. I heard of Ignite Victor being like a reply. I'm not quite sure if that's the thing I like. And Nivea as a counter pick you could do, but that goes against the entire style that Unicorns are doing.
Betsy beat it last week with the Swain, but Swain has been hit with the nerf bat this week as well.
The core of his gameplay is still the same though, so matchups that he would beat by having that kind of laning pattern, he will still beat, I feel. Need to see how it plays out. Chachi going for the strong dueling component on a side lane, and then just an AD carry that kind of does well in every lane, I think, in the Caitlyn. So this could be a strong early rotation here from Unicorns while not really giving away too much. They could still go for 4-1. They're more likely going to be going for a 1-3-1 composition where they need to now draft a mid laner that can play on the side lane later in the game, as well as handle Vladimir. That may narrow their choices.
That's going to be difficult. Draft something that can handle Vladimir. I'm not quite sure what that answer will be.
And maybe that's just like the limiting factors. Like,
yeah,
screw the side lane. How do you deal with this Vlad? That's
going to be the question that Unicorns have to answer. Veritas' Caitlyn played it once last week. He played the Assist King, 0-1-15. It's a pretty good scoreline. And for Fnatic, they've locked in the Gragas and Siva. So I'm expecting that Gragas to go in the jungle, despite the fact we've seen him show his face a little bit in the top lane, here and there.
Yeah. Is it even going to be the jungle at this point? Vlad mid, Gragas top with Sivir seems like... I think it might actually just be Gragas top.
Okay.
All right, my money's on Gragas top.
Got it.
You put yours on Gragas jungle.
Yeah, but that means I'm not walking away with anything here. So where does Spirit then look to go
bot lane, he's
for his
Sivir.
jungle pick? I mean, Kindred's up.
Let's play Sivir.
Touche. The nerf to Kindred, was it that strong to fall all the way down the draft? Like this far?
She got hit a lot on her snowball because regardless if you get ahead early, your stacks just move to really hard attainable objects. But I still think her core gameplay is the same. But it doesn't really fit the style that the Unicorns were looking for. So I don't think Kindred would have added that much to their composition that Fnatic was like, no, we need to pick it right now. They're clearly opting into a heavy teamfight style already with, you know, acceleration from Sivir, frontline, and then a Vladimir who excels in these teamfights. So they need to make sure that they have some hard CC components to at least pick somebody off.
Whoa! Whoa!
Nami Kha'Zix.
Right, so it is Gragas top. You win there, but Kha'Zix jungle?
It is one of those champs that has had repeated buffs over time, and every time a slight little tweak. And then all it took is for the top tier picks to just be hit just a notch down, or maybe some bans, and then Kha'Zix can reveal himself again. Very high damage, but needs to snowball to an extent. It's a very conditional pick. It feels a little... I feel like this comp is lacking some glue, if that makes sense. Like, if you follow what I mean here, just a lot of picks that, yeah, sure, if everybody stands still, takes damage, they can get the resets. But I think they want to overwhelm, they want to Zerg you down. And Unicorns, they seem to be looking at some of the more individual matchups here. They end up picking...
That's locked. They lock in
mid.
Yasuo? Okay, so we've got some really interesting picks here. The Overrun You comp from Fnatic.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure on Yellowstar to either land good bubbles or good tidal waves, and obviously enabled by Reckless's Sivir.
Yeah, well that matchup is very fascinating. Vladimir into Yasuo. I think the crux of this game is going to be whether Fnatic can get the lane swap off or not. It feels to me that Trundle should beat the Gragas still early. The duo Rek'Sai Trundle comp or Rek'Sai plus Yasuo should be able to beat Kha'Zix Vladimir too. So like all the little skirmishes add up into Unicorn's advantage. Even Caitlyn Karma should be strong enough to outpush, outpoke Sivir Nami. Fascinating. Want to see what Fnatic do. Do we go for standard lanes as the Ignite kind of indicates? Or do they go for the lane swap? If they go for the lane swap, then Yellowstar better switch that Ignite to an Exhaust. A lot of questions. Time for answers.
And we'll find out shortly. Daylor and Sheep be shaking hands as they walk off stage. And as the players are loading up on screen, you guys open up your Twitter pages and let us know who you think is actually going to come out victorious. I'm taking a look at the loading screen. It is an Exhaust for Yellowstar.
Yeah, literally the last second. Counter was already on 0 and he switched to the Exhaust. So definitely, I think the better approach. I think Fnatic was talking to their early game there.
And we'll have to find out if they can get the lane swap to work or not. There's those team compositions once again. It is a Kha'Zix jungle back in the EU LCS and in Spirit's hands. They're loading up onto the Rift for the first game here of the second series, EU LCS 1. Thank you for sticking through us and apologies about the delay. Unicorns chant in the crowd.
Yeah, surprising. Fnatic usually a home favorite. The whole reason I'm such a big fan of Exhaust here on Nami is because the damage of a Yasuo ulti triggers at the end of the animation, but he's already there flying, so it's an incredibly easy Exhaust to land and high impact.
All right, so if Yellowstar's around when Exile is looking, just trying to look, it's going to be an enabler for Exile in the hands of Move, obviously.
I think Chachi's Pillar also does it.
Yeah, that minute second. If you're spamming R hard enough,
yeah,
but you got to be really, really on the same page to make that work.
You just tell your Yasuo spam R, I'm going to Pillar. It's not
Make it sound so simple. You make it sound so simple.
The wonders of voice comm.
I'll find out if they can make that work. I'm taking a look down the rest of the summoner spells. It is a teleport Yasuo into the Ghost Flash Vlad, so not too surprised by Vladimir, but...
It just tells you teleport Yasuo doesn't strike you like a pick that wants to join and flank a fight, but it spells out exactly what the Unicorns want to do, and in that sense, they have understood their composition, which is going to be almost hardcore 1-3-1. They want to keep the map open, they want to get the Vladimir stuck on a side lane later on, that he can't move away from, and then they want to at least outnumber with the double teleport.
And if memory serves, that was kind of how UOL beat Origin. They, split Origin up, they played the pick comp, they played the map on multiple lanes, and talking about the map, UOL somewhat calling a bluff, matching this lane swap, so Reckless and Yellowstar gonna have a tough time of it for the next few minutes.
Yeah, they walk in though, so level up is at the 9th creep of this lane. Really good trade here from Yellowstar. I think we saw a Thunderlord spark from him. Yeah. That's actually a cool topic because there isn't a good keystone to use for Nami, because everybody's like, yeah, use Wind Speakers, but Wind Speakers only procs off you healing, and Nami can generally just only heal herself and an ally in a fight, if not just the ally. So that's only one target where you get Wind Speakers. You get a larger relative impact to the game with just these Thunderlords pokes.
Yeah, it seems to be working out. Look at the relative hit points between Veritas and Reckless.
And that's mainly because, so we see an example of how strong Exile is. He's attacking a lot of minions though here on the back end.
So much damage and a tower shot.
Yeah, Sverbrin will always get more damage on the back end of the trade because he will turn around, do some more damage, as Exile is moving away from the minions though. So we always need to look at the trade entirely and not just the start.
Yeah.
To go back just a little bit, Veritas and Hylissang had control of the wave and they refused to push because they got traded off by a really aggressively trading Yellowstar, who will now sustain up. So Fnatic understood the goal of this lane a lot better because the laning pattern, Unicorns played as if they were up at camp, whereas they should have focused on the minions. They got level 2 first. That's enough about that lane. Let's track Spirit and see where he goes.
Currently showing his face middle. Exile's using that sweeping blade to push over and over. And that's just going to shove the wave in for Fairby, who's doing pretty well. Actually comes out big CS lead because Exile seems to be kind of trying to chipping out, try to control that lane.
Yeah, over eager, not the right approach there. Remember, this is a counter pick. In the mid lane here, Exile picking Yasuo into the fully expected Vladimir. Let's see if he just maybe drop some CS. First game on stage. Had a long pause too. This obviously impacts these newer players a lot more than it does the old veterans.
Yeah. Being on the stage, got their sea legs, so to speak. So that when these delays happen, they can bounce back. But taking a look at those first buys, that's a second Doran's Blade for Exile. And Reckless still got a biscuit in his pocket, so he can continue to trade here with Veritas, even if he takes some damage.
Yeah, Reckless really doesn't want to trade 1v1, because if he steps up in kind of trading distance, Veritas will always get a shot ahead because of the range advantage. That's why Sivir's laning pattern is very push dependent. Just like, you know what, you can hit me, I'll just hit the creeps. Eventually there's more creeps hitting you, and I have sustain. That's exactly what we're seeing here. Reckless and Yellowstar understand the goal of their lane. All they need to do is avoid ganks.
There's that trade pattern. Steel Tempest knocks Exile up, Febiven up rather.
Yeah, and
That
always
time around, that was a good trade.
good trade, and he leaves himself an exit creep. Make sure you don't stack that E on all the creeps and then dash in, because there's no way out. Always leave yourself a dash out.
So that shows good champion mastery here from Exile on his first Yasuo game of summer. We've not actually talked about the top laners. That's two tanks just bashing heads. They're even on CS. Both got that corrupting potion. And Gamsu's wave is now going to push towards Chachi. Because that is actually a very big wave built up. Which means Chachi could get a big CS lead.
I mean, we didn't watch it, so that means that Chachi probably had the early control, pushing the wave, and it's now bouncing back. You can always like tell how a lane went from just having a glimpse at one point. Now Hylissang's going to land the snare here. They're focusing on support though, which means the Reckless has a better counter trade. This is going to be a big trade for Fnatic.
Yeah, look at the bubble. Thunderlords comes down as well. Exhaust onto Veritas. Yellow and Reckless, not on the same page.
Well, not on the same page. It looks like it, but you need to see, for Reckless, it wasn't worth winning that trade harder to maybe drop 2 CS. Obviously, these range support lanes, they're all about getting a CS lead because you'll never kill your opponent. And for Reckless, he was done. It's like, yeah, he could have put him to maybe 20%, but that would mean he would later have to deny 2 extra minions to make the trade kind of worth it. You know, sometimes you need to look at the bigger picture.
And is that the 15 CS difference for the time being?
That is the 15 CS. They're not getting pressured right now, though, because they're opting into very safe movement. Nobody in these lanes wants to get ganked from behind. That is the main prerogative here for Yellowstar and Reckless. And since they're playing a sustain matchup, they're always topped off. Sivir and Nami, if they can keep pushing, it's incredibly hard to beat. If you push them in, it is rather easy to deal with. Very push dependent, both these matchups.
And it's Reckless and Yellowstar that have the push, they have the advantage.
See, and this is the back end of the trade, you know.
Yeah.
Chip him now, win it later. Very conservative. If you overstep once, you can ruin an entire like laning phase worth of advantage.
And that ward that Yellowstar had just placed down, time's out. So Move will see the debris, and Spirit is still lingering, hops over the wall and gets both of them.
More importantly, he finishes it off. Not only does he level up, he also immediately gets isolation because the creeps are down. So really, really good patience there. A little bold for Move to just not hold his smite. You know, he's not going to expect a random Kha'Zix.
Yeah.
But technically he can, because it's all deductible, right? Reckless and Yellowstar won a trade. They disappeared for a while and came back. What did they do? Like, not a walk in the park, right? They must have warded your jungle.
I think the ward timed out while he was clearing the camp anyway, so
Yeah.
would have seen the debris pop up. But either way, that means advantages to Fnatic. They farmed up basically 1,000 gold lead, thanks to the advantages in the jungle and ADC.
Exile needs to make his mark
He's in
here.
trouble. Hemo play goes out. The dodge from the Tempest. Great timing from Febiven.
Yeah, and that's obviously Febiven saying thank you very much. I will sustain now. Spirit's coming in. The bait on Exile. No
Some
exit creep.
support. Very good Tempest. This time interrupting the leap. All of a sudden, Move comes over the wall, looking for more. If the knock-up had landed, Exile could have re-engaged.
Oh, definitely. So Move looking for flash knock up there. And we see the value of the wind wall. A lot of Vladimir's damage is projectile based, especially if he can't really follow up on his own ulti if Q and E get cancelled. But it's very tricky to place that because obviously Vladimir and teamfight very nimble. Can always flash past the wind wall too.
Gamsu and Chachi. These are the trades we've missed, Crepo. Very exhilarating. Chachi, of course, got himself that Hydra. With the minions, though, Gamsu can turn this one around. And Chachi forced to...
Yeah, that was
clear out the
Chachi's
way.
ultimate involved there too, as opposed to Gamsu still having it.
Maybe just pop the W down.
Still have it? It looks like it's down. Oh,
Yeah.
I yield.
It was just the
But I
W.
play 1,
The
convert
domain.
0.
It's all right. You got the jungle pick. I got the... nothing.
Oh,
So-
fancy. we tied up. I feel so European right now.
Crepo, another Cloud Drake this time around. It seems Stream 1 has more Cloud Drakes. I'll have to get our stats bender to take a look at. Although
Yeah,
by the end of
he'll be
last
very happy. He's like, yeah, I have a request about the game. Yeah, some highly analysis. Can you count the dragons for me?
Although it kind of evened out. I think across the board it was 19, 19, 19, 13 for the 4 respective elements. Yellow Star can take a lot of damage from that Mantra Q. Gets rooted down, and Spell Shield from Reckless blocks some of the trade.
And it's all about whoever's pushing this lane that will get dominance. While you're clearing minions, you get some bolts to the face, especially Caitlyn. If she can push in, she gets access to these high-range little auto attacks. Get you down here.
Oh,
This poke, Febiven will be fine. Should be.
Exile went all in, but his cooldown on that ultimate is around 80 seconds. And look at Veritas, forced all the way back. Both ADCs have already come back to lane, plus 20 CS for Reckless, but he's got 2 additional longswords to just the dagger from Veritas. So every time that boomerang goes out, that is really going to hurt.
Yeah, Veritas needs to get more traps down. Exile right here, just going for same, not really making a dent into Febiven, but at least having the push pressure. Constantly recharging that shield on the wave, so make sure that Vladimir can't kind of out-sustain him in that regard.
Move is going to have that tremor sense, so knows Yellow Star's around. The Yellow Star knows something up. You can smell the fishiness. Look at Spirit.
He got hit by the Qs.
Hanging out on the side. There we go. Spot on. Move is in trouble. Spirit's going to chase. No leap, no flash. Not going to dive into Veritas and Hylissang. Move, I think, a little lucky to get away.
Oh, I like this here by Veritas. See, spell shield down, instant ulti. And then zoning Q by Hylissang. This is out. But yeah, you gotta play around spell shield in these silver lanes. It's actually not that bad of a thing if your trap gets taken down by a spell shield. Yes, you give silver mana, but at least you can challenge her in trades.
Oh, Febiven throws out the Chemo Plague, and Exile's running away. We'll catch up top. Yellow Star's in trouble. Already flashed. The exhaust was on cooldown, but he can't get in range. The teleport from Chachi secures first blood. Gamsu, he throws himself into the middle of the Unicorns of Love. There's 4 members chasing him down. Forced to flash for his life. We catch a quick glimpse in the middle. Hemoplague's already been used. Tempest won't go up.
Suicide!
We see the players. They're not moving at all.
Look at the stone-cold faces on these guys.
Managed to get taken down.
What happened?
Not quite sure.
Nobody died. Spoilers. Still the players on screen.
Nobody died. Exile was forced to flash away. We will get the game back on your screens in a moment, guys.
All right, we'll just narrate. Nothing's happening, guys. Top laners are still trading against each other.
Well, to be fair, Crepo, Spirit wants to get something back. Chachi's in the top lane. Spirit's going to come in for the gank, and Spirit and Gamsu. Oh, you can't hear the game sounds. Yes, but we can show it. We can show the kill. Thank you, production. Leaps forward, evolves spikes, taste the fear.
Almost spoiled it.
Gamsu slays Chachi. I was predicting it.
It gets increasingly harder to predict the future towards the end of the game, right?
Oh, way harder. Not even from the mid-game onwards.
As we jump out of the lane.
It becomes impossible to do those things.
For you, perhaps.
For me, perhaps. That is true.
But yeah, we had some, a good example of how exciting League of Legends can be on screen, but how stone cold you gotta be outside of it. I think that is the true message we wanted to get across here, but sometimes we have to take drastic measures.
The level of focus on Hylissang. That is the level of focus you need. All right, that's what we're highlighting. First items completed for mid laners here, Crepo. Febi got his hands on that Proto Belt. And Exile got his hands on the Phantom Dancer.
Cool. I wasn't initially a fan of Proto Belt, because I was like, why does Vladimir need a dash? You know, he's either being on top of you or not. But it actually has a really large impact in how you duel with him. But I think once I start explaining this, somebody's going to interrupt me with a wrong bot. Nope. All right, great. So the cool thing is, Vladimir, you kind of dance around the edge of his E-range. That's what you usually do. But it just allows the Vlad to do that a couple of times, and you kind of forget the item exists. And suddenly, once you're half HP, both of you, he will dash in with Proto Bell, do some damage, get the E off. If you combine that with Ulti 2, it's a really potent, just like one shot, one kill. It kind of only works if Vladimir is ahead. So I think there's better items to finish first if he's slightly behind. So yeah, it definitely allows Vladimir to go in for the extra kill.
Yeah, and manages to accelerate the mid game, maybe slows down their late game build. We'll see what Febiven decides to optimize. Febi and Exile, they've actually been trading blows this entire game. We saw once again that Chemo Plague coming out. just to try and dissuade Exile.
Yeah.
Spirit wasn't really close enough to get involved.
Both players are aware that they're just going to kill each other. It's all about whoever gets the lane priority that pro players call it these days, just a push. Exile is also indicating that he will be split pushing later in the game. This is nothing crazy here. Phantom Dancer first. So Unicorns of Love are still waiting for the phase of the game. After tier 1 bot falls, they really want to take down this tower so they can move Veritas in the mid lane, have Hylissang kind of play the map from there, and then Exile on the side lane, Chachi on the other one, spread Fnatic thin.
Spread Fnatic thin. Use that skirmish comp that UOL had got to effect.
I mean, some decent skirmish on the side of Fnatic too if Spirit can find the isolation. They'll likely need like a red buff like he has now to slow people down. Definitely, it's slow right now.
Yeah.
But it could explode at any moment if there's like a duel coming up.
What are you expecting from Spirit's item build? We've got Warrior, Trackers, not very surprised by that, but...
Black Cleaver is what we're used to seeing from Kha'Zix and Solskjaer. I mean, there's been a couple of builds. People were building like, I think I saw Titanic Hydra at one point, but not the biggest fan of that. I really like Kha'Zix just with raw damage and Black Cleaver.
Right, Cleaver, let's see if Spirit can get it. We've not talked about the top lane tanks at all.
It's hard because I blocked it out of my memory.
Yes.
When Kha'Zix is on my team, he's just a little bit unlucky. He goes like 0-5 and doesn't finish his build. But he's on the enemy team, suddenly we're solving world hunger.
Yep.
And then, yeah, I kind of mentally block whatever he built. All I know is it hurt badly.
It would, especially as a support main. Let's find out which side of the Rift Spirit falls. Body slam from Gamsu, the explosive cast comes out, massive damage under Chachi.
Ooh, Chachi!
Forward, under the tower, the pillar makes it work. Gamsu bounces one back, but that was just a little crazy.
Yeah, and that's the difference between Titanic and Ravenous Hydra, of course. There's the lifesteal that it brings to the table here. Visit Chachi out of nowhere, gains like 20% of his health back, completely surprises Fnatic and turns around that build. Again, you know, playing super devoted to the 1-3-1, you know, the side lane 1v1 builds here with the sustain on the side of Chachi.
Febivin really quick on that trigger finger. Exile, the moment he threw down the Q for that Tempest, was dodged. But here's a replay once again.
I mean, by all means, Gamsu like opens up perfectly, knocks him back, isolated Chachi, he's low, and they think he's, yeah, almost dead here. Spirit kind of gets minion blocked a little bit too. Gamsu has to even flash after, so Chachi could have not played that any better.
Yeah, really well played. 2 and 2 kills and deaths for Chachi. 155 CS to 158 for Gamsu. Next dragon's going to be Cloud. Steady. Just to get caught.
But they need to hold this wave though here. Fnatic, a good option, good opening here. Because the whole plan for Unicorns is to keep this tower alive, switch in the AD carry so you can hold it later on, and then 1-3-1. But if this tower falls early, it's going to be a lot harder for Veritas to play from mid. Not impossible by all means. It's not like a super much game changer, but you always want to keep your mid tier 1 alive as long as you can.
Makes it more challenging. We saw last week when that mid-outer turret is down.
Yeah.
Even if you're farming at the inner turret, how easy it is to get picked off. Last week,
easy.
Gragas engages.
Yeah, to get picked off. Also, just if the farther back you farm on the map, the easier you allow people to kind of get behind you on the side lane. If you're split pushing on the side lane, you don't want people to get a free access point from mid, push up, playing Fog of War, and then disappear left to right. Because it forces you to play a lot more passive on the side lanes, which then in turn forces you to play a lot more passive in the mid lane and kind of you start playing in your base. That's not what you want to do with a 1-3-1.
It's like knocking the dominoes over one at a time. Just all falling over. Looking at the mini-map, Fnatic got pretty good vision. Down in the bottom quadrant, you know, around that dragon pit. A little bit earlier, Unicorns actually had fairly good vision themselves, but that has slowly started to time out.
Yeah, they got Caitlyn in mid, like, right, this is what they want to see, you know? This is how you deal with Caitlyn. Obviously doesn't one-shot a wave, but because of the trap line and the zone it provides, she gets access to the wave earlier than her opponent, and she can aggressively defend, especially with the help of the support. And right now, Yasuo is isolated in the bottom lane. Sivir can't deal with him, so they'll need to send Yasuo, Vladimir down there later. So Unicorns right now, because they made that switch in time, back kind of in control of the map.
I quite like that term. Aggressively defend an area of the map. But you can see the pink wards as well. 1-2 of them on the southern side of the river. So Veritas is even going to have like that safe zone to fall back towards.
Yeah, you obviously want to play to bot side if you're Unicorns of Love. You have no business trying to influence this Gragas Trundle matchup. You're fine letting them duke it out. You just want to play around Dragon. Maybe some backup for Yasuo in bot lane. Because Fnatic is looking to 2v1 in bot and keep the flat mid for now. That mid lane tower is going to take some shots here in the next wave.
Yeah, no Vlad to defend it. No TP either, but at what cost? Exile, at the risk of getting caught out, he manages to flash away.
He's just going to rotate up. Yeah, gank failed. So this is tower that should drop in the mid lane. Not quite sure how healthy it was. A little bit of a flank here. Move a zone. They don't need to run far, as long as they get back by the trap here.
Emo play comes out, the trap slowly starting to time. Febiven's looking for more, does not have any hourglass available, uses the proto belt, this time defensively. On the back line, the double TP delivers Chachi and Exile. They pick off one, squashing Spirit's bug beneath their boot. Exile's looking for more, throws out the Tempest, will not actually target a champion, it hits the minions instead. And Unicorns, they get the tower, they get a kill as well.
Yeah, and all those traps suddenly disappeared. See, traps last for 90 seconds. I wonder if Fnatic timed that to a T, because the second that fight broke out, all those traps started falling down. I was wondering if Veritas like replaced one of them, triggered one of them to fall, but all of them suddenly timed out. I bet Unicorns is a little bit scared there, but they turn it around. Strength in numbers.
Look what they get. They get the outer mid turret, a lot of damage in the top tower, and they steal away the blue buff.
Yep.
Important to note they use both TPs.
Use both TPs, but that's their playstyle, right? See, a little dash here, but the counter objective from Fnatic. Tower's really low. The farm alarm comes in. This time to defend.
Move is in position, but look at this map again. Like every time we cut away from the mid lane, it's Unicorns playing forward. Unicorns.
Yeah, cross mapping.
Yeah, they're pushing Fnatic further and further back.
Yeah, definitely understanding their composition, which is something we're not used to seeing from Unicorns, if we're honest. They've had questionable execution of questionable drafts many a time in the past, but they come in here with a clear goal, exemplified not only in their summer choice with the TP teleport router on Exile, even further still exemplified in their item builds. Built to 1v1, play on the side lanes with this Phantom Dancer.
Reckless gonna carry on chasing. Some passive move speed here from that Sivir, from that Nami, but they run headfirst into a tower.
The one conditional factor here is that the 2v1 in mid can actually beat the enemy mid laner. We'll see that later though. Spirit's gonna face check ulti.
Oh, Spirit is in so much trouble. He leaps over the wall, manages to stay alive. That was a little close.
Because nobody brought a pink ward to the party. Actually, there was one in that brush, so did that get placed late?
I did not see if it went down
go
quickly
back.
enough.
Yeah, it got placed a fraction of a second late. Otherwise, Spirit may have died. Just had a brief, like half second of invisibility.
Get that Void Assault down, get out of sight and manage to make it away. But Unicorns get their second dragon. They're not quite as action-packed as HDK Giants from earlier today.
Yeah, but it clashes your styles at least.
Yeah.
I don't mind games being slower when they're slow because teams are actually playing towards the composition.
Thing is,
as opposed to like, no action. Just I want to farm, you want to farm. Let's both share in the jolly activity that is farming.
Thing is, do you want to be giving a Vladimir like 22 minutes of...
I mean, you're going to give it to him anyways. The only option is whether you give him kills or not. That's the state Vladimir is in right now. I think it's incredibly hard to deny him much farm. I wonder why Fnatic are not swapping him to a side lane though. Maybe Febiven is incredibly like just afraid of Exile running him down on the longer lane. Because we saw these short trades. Febiven backs off to his tower. Good. Over. But on the longer lanes, Yasuo obviously has almost infinite chase potential. As long as he has access to a minion wave.
And Chachi does not give a monkeys. Just walks straight past Gamsu. Forces the tower down.
How does one give a monkeys?
Away. The sentence ends a little different, which I'm sure you're aware of.
I wasn't aware. You would think I would do that?
No, never, never.
Beta caster on air.
But now, like, look at this, right? So UOL, despite only 1,000 gold lead, they seem to be using the cross map very well. They seem to be forcing Fnatic's hand.
Yeah.
They've got Vizichachi with his Ravenous, as well as the Spirit Visage, even forcing a flash out of Gamsu. Like, how on earth are Fnatic going to deal with either a Yasuo or a Trundle at this point? The answer? Send numbers, right? This has been chunked down.
Well, that should be a dead Exile.
Yep, should be indeed. Windwall comes up, buys some time, but Spirit gets the kill.
Yeah, he overextends. When your team is going 4v1 on the top lane, you gotta do mental cheerleading. You can't get baited into aggression, because it's very likely that you will get 4v1 in the bottom lane. I got 3v1 right there, Exile. Still getting used to the split push a little bit. And that is a very delicate dance to dance. The dance of aggression on side lanes. Sometimes you just gotta be passive for a while, whether it's due to respect for vision, respect of what your team's doing across the map. To get back to your question, what do Fnatic do? They don't necessarily need to do anything. You can play this game, keep the gold relatively close, and lose your other outer turrets. As long as you have decent vision in between, it's not that punishing. And it's incredibly hard for 1-3-1 to get to the next stage where they take down like base turrets. Then they need to start looking at objectives, and it's going to be harder because everybody's so split. A 3-man Baron isn't really an option between like Veritas, Hylissang, and Move. So they'll need to peel off Chachi to kind of help on the Baron. That's where Fnatic can then step in and start warding. So it gets even more complex.
UOL are going to be dancing on a knife's edge. Baron Pit or Dragon Pit, and then they have to deal with Nami, Vlad, Gragas. The
Wind wall
potential is terrifying.
Yeah, it's all about the walls. If you're Exile, you can block the entire Nami wave, the bubble.
Reckless is going to run forward. On the hunt is used, but Exile doesn't land the Q.
Yeah, that's why I like Exile a lot more in the top lane here, and keep Chachi in the bottom lane. Chachi is the more individual duelist. It's also more important to have Exile near the top lane because he has a larger impact in defending against some of these fights. And in addition to that, Trundle is also a better flanker. Now,
Reckless with a very good spell shield. There's the wind wall. Gonna block any sort of tidal wave. Exile trying to make it work, but Reckless just sidesteps everything. Spirit face checks move, forced to flash defensively. Kelly's looking for a little bit of an engage, doesn't find it.
I love the confidence though. After a failed play earlier, he still goes for it. I thought he was overextending, but he knew his damage output. More fighting coming out here. Move knocks up Febiven.
Febiven is on the front line. The bubble catches him. Tides of blood into the Hemo Plague. Sanguine Pool will slow down UOL's escape. Look for the pop. It's not the greatest. Yellow Star as well as Reckless comes in. Reckless is taken down as Veritas sends him packing with a headshot. Febiven flashes forward. No, that was the Proto Belt. Gets the Tides of Blood out. Double kill for Veritas. He's still alive. Not for long though. Spirit, he leaps over the wall. Tastes the fear. Leaps to safety after the reset. Flaps his little wings. He's looking for Chachi. Gamsu and Spirit realize they don't want that fight and they back away.
Yeah, so much went on that fight. It all started with a little skirmish in the top lane. Exile, we saw him die in the top lane. Right now he's in the bot lane, pushing in, use that teleport. Has to be careful though. Does he go for another fancy outplay or be bold?
This is going to be scary. Steel Tempest doesn't find anyone. Spirit's got so much damage.
Yeah.
Leaps forward, sends Exile back home. Chachi should get at least a tower though.
Yeah, Exile needs to get better at buying time. In both senses that he doesn't even need to fight there because there was cross map for Chachi to take something down, as well as he should just hold his Q a little longer, get something to juke once and then go in.
Oh, Spirit, gotta be careful. Chomp comes out. Chachi's out of mana, but he's gonna find support and get out alive.
Yeah, 1v1 we see the potential of Busy Chachi here with that build with Sheen picked up right now as he builds towards that, you know, Frozen Fist. But again, so many like micro decisions in these trades that are highly influential, highly impactful of the game. His reckless sidestep of that Q from Yasuo. Exile using it very early. Right here, he goes in 1v2 knowing that he can get rid of the bubble at least from the side. Then he steps into the wind wall to block the boomerang. Good. And he holds this long enough to get a Q. Q ulti would have been a kill on Reckless. But he misses it. And that's just, yeah. I think he's balancing too much on the outplay. While there are strategically correct decisions, that will always work. You know, you draw somebody bot and you back off, and then you try to get something on the other side of the map. That's like, you can split push and win a game without getting a single kill.
Yeah, but that's not sexy, Grappo.
Yeah, to some people it's not. Here we see the trap here. Reckless gets his spell shield pop right before he walks into the trap. Immediate turnaround from Unicorns of Love was good. Febiven, I think it was actually a flash. Yep, because that was too much distance to carry on. But then we see the power of the resets here. Hylissang trying to help his AD carry. Probably should have just left him behind.
I think pretty good heads-up play from Spirit, you know, waiting in the wings, looking for the opportunities to get that isolated damage. And maybe he shows a little bit of inexperience again against the Kha'Zix.
Yeah, and then here,
up that way.
Inexperience against Kha'Zix too. Like, you see the pink ward. We'll get into that later. Maybe they're not. There's more fighting going on.
There is indeed. Body Slam won't find anyone though. Explosive Cask pins Hilly and Veritas against the wall.
If only he had Yasuo on his team.
Would not have worked out. No Yasuo for Fnatic. Looking at the mini-map.
Ooh, Baron bait.
UOL's pushing in the top lane with minions. Fnatic's minions pushing down bottom. Gamsu just steps all the way forward. Tides of Blood goes up. Protobelt is available for Febiven. Poof! But there is no flash. That's a very, very good wind wall. And that just allows Unicorns to back all the way away.
Yeah, Vladimir, you saw the flying blood through the air. That's the second part of the ultimate. So a lot of ultis down here for Fnatic.
Yeah, but the fight's not done. Ace in the hole. Just catches Gumsu Fnatic. They're on the wrong side of the rift if they're considering home. But they don't care. Take the tower. Maybe even get the bottom one as well if they want to.
I mean, Unicorns, if they wanted to, they could have cut off the blood supply from the next wave, just walk mid and get it there. You're a little wary of the Dragon being taken, though. Spirit gonna solve that. I like what Fnatic's doing here, playing from the mid lane, not mindlessly chasing into the Baron area. Just enough pressure that Unicorns can't commit to one of those kind of almost panic Barons that very often end up working out today, on this stream at least. And they take up a mountain break, so I like what Fnatic did there.
So that's Fnatic's first Dragon of the game at around 30 minutes. Not taking too much stock. We're still even in gold.
And it shows you that patience is worth it, because as opposed to 2 clouds for the Unicorns, Fnatic pick up straight up a mountain drake.
Will help them for this Baron or tower pressure that they have to apply.
Oh, definitely the Baron. They have an incredibly quick Baron, especially if you want to charge into that and you have to walk into a tidal wave. Even if you go for the fight, you lose your wind wall early, and it is almost worth it trading Nami ulti for wind wall in some of these fights, because it just gives Definite unlimited access to damage.
It allows everything else to land.
Yeah.
So an unlocker, so to speak. Looking at some of the items, I've not touched on those in a while either. Gamsu, Sunfire, got that Frozen Heart, got himself a Thorn Mail and a Warden's Mail. Obviously, because there's no magic damage from Unicorns, which is not something you hit all too much.
Yeah, that's actually a point we likely should have talked about. Kind of went glossed over once we started tunneling on the compositions, but if it does end up in a team fight, not only are Unicorn's builds catered to split pushing, they're also very one-dimensional in damage, and Gamsu, reading that correctly, going for the Thorn Mail. Right now, his build will be getting infinitely stronger. The one caveat to that is, obviously, the stronger he gets, the stronger he makes his Chachi once Chachi ultis, because QSS no longer gets rid of the Trundle ultimate. And we actually saw something similar in HTK versus Giants Game 1, where Trundle just did so much at kind of nullifying any tanking strength the opposing top laner had.
But how much can Featherman do in return? Because he's got himself an Hourglass now, so he can hop in with that Proto Belt, go golden. I mean, Gamsu can't, even with all this armor, he's still being bullied around by the lane. Exile's in trouble, Windwall comes down, flashes over, follow-up flashes from Fnatic, they take him down. Febby can't get in range, and Exile a little too risky.
Yeah, Windwall is not some of those things that you put in a door that kind of stops the flies from coming in. Kha'Zix actually jumps over it, you know? Everyone's ready for him to like bug splat into there, but nope. Kha'Zix isolates you, dies, and then of course we see Baron immediately being started here by Fnatic.
Gamsu's teleported in from the middle lane, looking for Veritas. Body slam comes down, the interrupt and the knockup. Gamsu flashes away. Tidal Wave buys some time, but look, Baron already picked up for Fnatic.
Yeah, wait, they finished that? Oh,
yep.
That's quick. I was like, yeah, I really don't like Fnatic peeling off from the Baron here. Turns out they did it.
Both at once.
Yeah, why not both? That pick off. Exile is just playing beyond his limits. I think this is the 4th death in a row that was entirely avoidable, and almost seems that he initiated the aggression on every single death so far.
Maybe a little bit to learn in terms of how to play the split pushing Yasuo on LCS level.
Yeah.
Because Fnatic, despite... Look, Fnatic have only got themselves 3 towers as we catch a glimpse there of Spirit evolving. Fnatic have not... They've not given up more than they have had to.
Yeah, they just traded towers for either farm or a couple of kills here and there, and as long as they kept the gold even, something we talked about earlier, the towers need to lead to something. If it only leads to you overextending and dying, yeah, then Unicorns throwing some... Yeah, struggles with the late game part of this composition. Incredibly hard to play. Let's not understate it. It's really hard to play this because, especially if you've never played on a stage before, Fog of War counts twice. It's so much harder to play. Everything, jungle's everywhere all of a sudden. Where in scrims it's like, nice, not here. On stage it's like, yeah, I think he's in a rush right now. This guy, no, there's no way he would play like this. Jungle has to be here. And that jungle's here.
Yeah, there we go. Fnatic, they throw down the taunt to Unicorns of Love. Tidal Wave onto the tower. Febby, despite stepping on a trap, uses a Sanguine Pool, should survive with his life. Exile holds on to the last breath, the tower goes down. Fnatic continue the siege. A little bit scary, everyone playing with their lives.
Yeah, despite stepping on a trap, Featherman is still Vladimir, so it doesn't count. Unicorns above getting pushed into their base right now. Fnatic obviously having a difficult time trying to catch them. If they walk into the Yasuo Q, this fight can get turned around, but look at how low they are already.
That critter shade from Reckless did so much work forcing Veritas away. Steel Tempest comes out. Exile still not able to find a knockup following Move. If Move can catch someone from Fnatic.
Missed opportunity. Next pillar could be the knockup that they need.
The pillar decides not to pull the trigger. Exile wants something more. He wants a juicier target.
He was in range of the first pillar, was not in range of the second one.
There's another one. This time around, decides not to chase. Exile gets caught out. The exhaust is already down. Exile's killed before he can even pull the trigger. Fnatic have got themselves two. Gamsu is still sticking around. Tides of Blood is ticking everyone down as Chachi caught by the Aqua Prison. Yellow Star landing the CC, even picking up the kill. Febby continues to chase forward with the Proto Belt. Takes down
Veritas
is down. Veritas, he's looking to go huge before the minions help him out. Hemo Plague onto Hilly. The pop transfusion should be enough for Febiven. Not going to be able to chase him down.
Oh, that was some sweet little decision making there. If he ran, he could never hide from the chasing monster that was Vladimir. Flash still available, but so he flashes the opposite direction. Surprises both Reckless and Yellow Star. Really solid move there from Veritas.
Surprises me. Despite UOL losing 4, they get a kill. Maybe they get a little bit more. Febby rooted in place, got some minions to help.
And he's up.
Wow, look at that heal. Minions might be able to take that inhib down, unless Hilly has anything to say about it.
Yeah, he's desperately trying to stop the bleeding right there. Kevin probably could have committed. Again, erring on the side of caution. Want to get back in time for the next dragon here, which should be Elder coming up. It's post 35 spawn time. Watch this again. So that was a pillar. He could have procced. Q goes short here. I think that one didn't even knock anybody up, so that wasn't close enough. And then they commit pillars and cooldown. He gets the Q, but he drops. We saw that one. Let's just see how Veritas ends up in a position where he went for the outplay. Steps forward. He could stutter step a little more. Life stealing off some creeps maybe. Goes in for the play. Yeah, he's hitting Reckless the entire time.
Yeah.
Everybody's looking at Febiven, but really good combo there. Trap, headshot, E headshot is enough to two-shot almost any squishy these times around.
All right, Elder Dragon is up at 36 minutes. Chachi gets knocked forward. That's one of the biggest frontline members for the Unicorns of Love. Elder Dragon still 8,000 hit points. Fnatic caught on one side.
Yeah, not a bad side here for the Unicorns. Strapline is up. Windwall nullified. Nami engaged. This could be a good fight.
Let's see who gets it. It's secured by Fnatic. Smited down in conjunction with the Mountain Drake. This is a good buff for Fnatic. Gonna help them take any further towers that are still standing.
Yeah, good 50-50 by Unicorns. Instead of, well, sadly the smite did not connect. Now they need to run.
Well, Pillar will slow down Febiven for now, but it won't slow down Spirit. Leaps forward, unable to find those spikes slow. And Unicorns may have successfully disengaged. Yes, they have.
Yeah, Febiven not quite slowing them just enough. Rylai's Crystal Scepter, obviously very, very strong in Vladimir's kit. Just needs to connect a couple of spells. Added movement speed bonus here from these Karma Shields. Save Unicorns. Sliver of health left on that inhibitor. Things are getting tenser here. Fnatic have regained control of the map though. Take the Elder. Might take Baron later on.
Look at the gold advantage. Flash instantly from Reckless. Did not want to run the risk of getting caught out. Trap line placed by Veritas. Unicorns, they are trying to hold, but they're down 7,000 gold now.
Yeah, 7,000 gold, which means they need just one good knock-up somewhere to get Exile access to some of the squishies. Spirit can drop like a fly. Reckless can go down rather quickly too.
If Exile can find the target.
Big if at this point.
Yeah. Well, Reckless doesn't have a flash, so
Just needs to look within himself. Master of Death.
Protobelt forward. Febby's gonna try zone away UOL. Remember, Exile showed his face top. Oh, they've caught Veritas. That's one of the big damage dealers down. Unicorns, they've lost Move as well. Move, with him being sent to the fountain, it's a double kill for Febby. Febby continues to chase forward. Hilly flashes defensively as Exile. He manages to catch Febiven, but Febiven throws down the hourglass mid-air, saving his life. Exile returns to the fountain as Fnatic look like they've broken this game open. The Nexus begins to fall. 5 members of Fnatic turn their attention to the second turret. Take down Visit Chachi on their way, and Spirit, he leaps forward with those evolved wings. Exile's trying to get one kill down. That's the shutdown, but it is nothing but a consolation prize as the Unicorns of Love have lost their base. Gamsu even tower dives. Fountain died for the kill. Fnatic after 38 minutes take down Unicorns of Love.
Yeah, and they're happy about this one. Spirit showing some signs of emotion there. Reckless not so much. It's like, yep, the job's done. Next.
Clean game from Fnatic, I feel.
Yeah, clean, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they were always in control of winning. They capitalized on some mistakes, but Unicorns could have definitely push the dagger a little farther if they executed their comp well. Let's not forget, split push entirely falls apart. It has a long setup time. You know, everybody's, okay, you get into position on the sideline here, you over here. Let's both move up, then go up, and then we can start challenging objectives where like this side gets the aggro, the other side steps back, which is a very delicate balance. If one guy just randomly dies, that's 5 minutes of your time wasted. Suddenly teamfight comes, can move up, get vision, and the next time you want to set up, even harder. So if Unicorns play perfect, I mean, if anybody plays perfect, they win the game. But we saw the moments where Unicorn's style was really, really highlighted well with the split push, the double teleport. And we saw too little of that in the mid to late game.
So what does this mean now when you look at the Unicorns' performance overall? How do you feel they performed when we take their week 1 performances into account? You know, is this a little bit more in the line of the UOL versus OG, where they had some level of control, they had positive plays, and, you know, OG kind of crippled, which is why Unicorns could have won that one?
I mean, they play 2 styles at least now, the blind aggression, snowball, which requires less macro, strategy, as we call it what you want. And now they play this one, which is a high kind of finesse punishment of error strategy with the payload all the way at the end, and they showed that they could play it decently well, but still a lot of work to do.
Potential, I think. We'll see if Unicorns can figure out how to control themselves. They've got another game to try surprise us. For now, we're going to head to the analyst desk to take a look at how Fnatic won.
Thank you very much, guys. When it comes to our predictions at the beginning of the day and the patch, the Ashe came out in several games, the Nami came out. You said the meta is on its head. And again, we have a crazy pick and ban phase in this one.
Yeah, and we see this in all the games today. New picks coming in, new ways teams are playing, a lot more carries up in the top lane, like Aurelia's being played right now over on the other stream by Kikis. We have seen Trundle a few times as well. He's always been meta, but he's been played more now than he did before. So I actually really like the changes in this pick and ban phase. Some surprises, yes, the Kha'Zix, it's been buffed over and over. I've been following Spirit a bit in solo queue, and he has been spamming the champion for quite some time now. It is a very strong skirmish jungler, but it's not a great ganker. And in team fights, when you have these spread out fights where a lot of targets go low, because like Vladimir AoE is in there, we have AoE coming in from your AD carry and Sivir as well. These low targets, it's very easy for Kha'Zix to go like kill, 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 and just keep resetting and jump, and that actually happened for Spirit.
And it was actually really good in terms of the early game, or at least it was an attempt to set up an early game, because when you look at Sivir, Vladimir, they need a little bit of time to actually ramp up. I mean, Vladimir typically does have quite a good, powerful laning phase, but when you put him up against the Yasuo, it's not necessarily as strong as you'd want it to be, because Yasuo, in that matchup in particular, can actually be quite aggressive and put a lot of damage down onto that Vlad and can often come out ahead.
So this is actually one of the reasons I didn't like Kha'Zix early, because I actually don't think he fit that well with how the early game was going to be played for Fnatic. As you mentioned, with the Yasuo, who can be... He won't destroy the Vladimir by any means, but he can run teleport and he can move to a side lane very quickly and play 1-3-1. You can't really gank him and shut him down early. You can't really gank any of the lanes as a Kha'Zix, and Fnatic actually fell behind. There were a lot of times where Unicorns had set up that great 1-3-1, and I'm like, this is good. You have Split pushing Trundle, who's beating Gragas. You have the Yasuo, who's beating the Vladimir. I'm like, just don't get caught, and it's fine. But Exile is a bit like the Yasuo players down in my elo now, where they will go to the side lane and they will be like, okay, so my team is recalling right now, but I should probably keep running towards that tier 2 tower because I'm Yasuo, right? I can take tower, kill 2 guys, take Baron as well, and then poke the dragon. He just died every time.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting because what we highlighted from last week is that when Move and Exile were doing good, obviously that's 2 out of 5 players, so obviously your team will be doing okay. But in this one, it was again more like the first performance we saw out of Exile, where he just died too many times after one another.
Yep, he ended up getting caught out more often than he should have. The Yasuo syndrome is a common word for it. It's almost like the Vayne game where you think you're much stronger than you actually are. And to be fair, if Exile had managed to land a couple of his key abilities, he may have been able to turn that fight around. But as you're going to see in this replay coming up fairly soon, it's actually just a couple of minor misplays that come out from Exile that result in him falling behind here.
Yeah, and this is like, so Reckless right now uses Spell Shield, so the wall comes up to block the Nami, and he uses it actually also to block Reckless after, but then he misses the next one. Reckless did have flash and heal, so he could actually flash out if it would have hit him. But it means, okay, now your Yasuo is dead, but while you do have pressure in the other lanes, well, now Fnatic can actually force a fight, because Unicorns decide to say we want to try and run and help the Yasuo, but when you play 1-3-1, if one guy is buying time versus 2 or 3 members, very rarely is it worth it for you to run to that lane and try and help him. Instead, you run to the opposite lane and you take a tower. Here they were like, no, we're gonna help you, we love you, whatever. And then he dies, and that means the rest of the team goes down. Here's the Kha'Zix, you know, shining in these fights because it's a messy fight. Everyone is spread out. He gets some great single target damage down, and he can kind of clean up.
That is exactly the strength of Kha'Zix in these team fights. Yes, the early game did not go exactly the way we wanted. We saw that tower dive coming out from Spirit up in the top lane where he underestimated the damage of the Trundle, ended up getting punished for it pretty heavily. But in these late game fights where you kind of want to split apart from the Vladimir ultimate, and you kind of also want to split apart for the Sivir as well, because if she's allowed to get all of those ricochets off, she's going to be shredding through your team. So unconsciously, you kind of split up. And that's exactly that's exactly where the Kha'Zix comes in and actually has some great effect. So if you are looking to play Kha'Zix, that's what you kind of want to play him. Look for those kind of catches out of positions, pick people off. But in the end, Fnatic were able to make it work for themselves.
Yep, and looking at player of the game in this one for us was Gamsu in the top lane on the Gragas. Nobody actually, I mean, it's not a bad top lane pick, but nobody really in the ULCS likes to play it top
Well,
so far.
again, new patch. Keep in mind, Maokai nerfed. Echo is dead. Like, he's done. He got so nerfed this patch as well. If you want to play a tank top, things like Gragas suddenly become a good pick, also because Fizz is banned in almost every single game. So Gragas actually does have value as a tank who has a strong laning phase and works well in these comps where you want to split up targets for like a Kha'Zix to get a few single target targets, basically. Yeah.
It's actually, it's quite interesting from Fnatic that they're still sticking to this tanky top front line, because last week they ran Zac and Gragas, and now this week they've decided to bring out the Gragas. I want to see if Gamsu, because in last bit, the very early on, we saw him bring out the Olaf. Today we've already seen the Olaf. Is this just a conscious decision by Fnatic saying, we still want Spirit to be the carry from the jungler and have the tank front line in the top, whereas other teams are putting more tanks in the jungler, carry in the top? Or is it just for this game that they decided the Gragas top was interesting? So moving forward, that's something I want to keep an eye out on Fnatic's pick and ban.
Yeah, definitely. And picks and bans in general have been really interesting today. Also on the game that's currently going on the other stream, G2 versus Rocket. We're actually going to check in and see what's going on over there. As said, a couple of very interesting picks. We'll take a look in just a second. Zillion mid for Perks as one of them. Rocket actually got a very early advantage, but G2 just managed to even it out.
So actually early on, Rocket did a great job of setting up a couple early tower dives onto G2, and the early game pressure was actually quite relentless from Rocket to actually build themselves an early lead. But G2 doing what they do best and just finding small mistakes to punish. Yeah,
it's one of these games where it is standard lanes, or it was actually swapped to top side, but it was a 2v2 on top side. Australia lanes we had here, so Kickers obviously, as you said, were under pressure, also because of some jungle ganks. But what's interesting is G2, while they're losing a few kills here and there, it feels like they're constantly in control. And that's, again, the sign of a very good team. Yes, the other team goes very aggressive, you know, try and pull off a few surprises here and there, but you're kind of like calm, collected. You know, okay, we outfarm here. We know we can now make a play over here, and no panic at all from G2.
Yeah, and at least for Rocket, they did do better in the early game, which was one of the things that they really wanted to improve on. So now we will see if they're able to get the other things going for them as well, or keep going. Now, with Fnatic 1-0 up here in the arena, the pressure is on the UOL to avoid a shutout in Game 2. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Say something, I'm giving up on you. Maxler, I'll be the one if you want me to. Maxler? Why don't you sing with me?
Trying so hard to go on the mic check. Because you didn't get in this time.
Not at all, actually.
Freeze locked up, overextending and taken out instantly. I healed you.
Kill bot.
Kill Nida.
I'm on me. Drake. Push a bit.